Hello and welcome to the 17th edition of the Cure Tinnitus Show. My name is Dainis Michel. I'm the founder and creator of CureTinnitus.org, and we have as our resident expert Julian Cowan-Hill, craniosacral therapist and someone who's healed himself.
Core process psychotherapist.
Are you now?
Well, yes, I am. I graduated last year and I'm accrediting this year. So
you're accrediting this year. Now, I remember that I was to introduce you as someone who's working towards accreditation as a core process psychotherapist.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've had a psychotherapy practice for 2 years now, and I will be accredited in June 2022.
Accredited in June, okay. So we'll throw an accreditation party for you, a virtual party. I'll get all the little blinking lights. It'll be pretty cool. And we'll put lights on you and put a party hat on you. It'll be really fun.
Right.
So, for those of you who haven't joined us for a Cure Tinnitus show before, the format works by running through member questions, and then towards the end, if we can get to it, Julian and I do a one-on-one session, or we do a group exercise that's intended for everyone. I'm then the guinea pig, and I do it, but then it's intended for everyone to do along with the show. Mm-hmm. I do have an announcement on this particular show, and that is that Paul Carrington, the author of Banish Tinnitus in 3 Simple Steps, has gotten in touch with me. It's a very, very popular ebook that's intended to help people with tinnitus. And I wanted to ask our community, and I'm also going to be putting this out on YouTube, anybody who has any questions for Paul Carrington, experiences with his ebook, questions about his ebook, follow-up, anything you'd want to ask, let me know, because within the next month or two, we're going to run an interview with Paul Carrington of Banish Tinnitus.
That sounds great.
Okay, now moving on to the show, it's really wonderful how these things come together, because people just post and post, and I got a chance to look through the questions, and we really have everything from purely physical questions to emotional based questions. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. The first question is more of a tinnitus story, and I'd like to read my response because it outlines the CureTinnitus.org program, and then gather your feedback, Julian. Okay? Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Dainis. I've been a member since last year. I've yet to post any questions. Here I have a very important one for you. My tinnitus is initially very mild last February when I first notice it. I have to go to a very quiet toilet and close the door to hear it. The other time would be before I go to bed and waking up in the morning when my bedroom is very quiet. My wife told me she had much worse tinnitus in her since the teenage year, but she was never bothered with it. Now she only hears it when I complain. But somehow, I could never take my mind off it. I will go check on it obsessively, maybe 10 times a day, and then worry about it. It then slowly gets worse and worse. After I became a member, I started to force myself checking it less often and go to massage therapy and trying to pick up some hobbies such as cooking and going out with friends. I used to have no friends and doing nothing other than working, surfing the internet, and playing video games. However, my tinnitus is still getting progressively worse. I notice one pattern. I'm working as a radiologist, which required me to sit in a quiet room, concentrating on a single patient's images on the computer, then dictating the report for several hours in a row. Usually a day's work for 7 to 8 hours leaves me very tired. I have cutting down on my work hours from 5 to 3 days each week to reduce my stress. Should I cut my work altogether to prevent it from getting worse? That way I can dedicate my time on changing my personality, developing hobby, learning to focus on my body, etc. Right now my tinnitus is slowly getting worse. I feel all effort to relax is going nowhere. The bottom line, I have a feeling and a belief that my work is making me tired often and making tinnitus worse. I've not been able to make it back off with my effort, since my effort to relax and change my personality probably is not there yet. So should I just quit working to create a more favorable environment and restart working after I learn to focus less on tinnitus and more on my life and my body in general? Or quitting the job will actually make my tinnitus worse, since I give up a large chunk of normal life, like work, due to tinnitus. That way I actually focus more on the tinnitus. Are there any episodes addressing, then they asked if there are any episodes or videos addressing similar questions. Okay, thanks for your help. I'm very confused here. There's a follow-up. Sorry about my previous long message. I know the core issue is that I am still very reactive and obsessive about my tinnitus. Therefore, when it gets temporarily worse after a trying day at work, it won't back down, and so I'm very focused on it. Before I become less reactive, should I quit my job altogether, like someone quit their coffee or alcohol, to at least remove something that will make it temporarily worse? Now, Julian, I would like to read my response. I know it's long, and I know you've been taking notes, but I'd like to incorporate my response before you respond. Okay, dear name withheld, these are deep and important questions for you, and if you find your employment inappropriate for you, then you can look at that issue. I wrote, and this is just from my recommendation, but however, it is likely that gentleness is an important part of your path. He asked about, or she, I don't remember now, booking a session with you. I gave the email address, but I did outline that our goal is to help you, first of all, establish a network of support to let go into, and second, get appropriate body therapy that relaxes and nourishes you. Number 3, get appropriate mental, spiritual, emotional therapy that centers and relaxes you. And then doing your own chosen relaxing things like hobbies, exercise, etc. again, that make you feel happy and good. So those, okay. And now, Julian, I know you've taken a lot of notes, and this has been, and you know, and it's interesting because this happens a lot. Big email, and then a follow-up short one. So people need to get this out, and we're glad that we're here. We're glad that we're here to field it.
No, I think it's a really great question, or series of questions that this person's asking. My first responses is, changing personality sounds really tough, hard work, and I wonder whether it wouldn't be more productive to accept one's personality and let one's personality be and make friends with it and appreciate it. When we come out of fight or flight, we naturally stop being anxious and driven and clingy and needy, and we settle into a much calmer, clearer state. And, you know, we can seem very different people, but I think personality is fundamentally the same. But when we're in a peaceful, calm state, everything's much clearer, and I think the more beneficial sides of our personality shine through. So I think personality might be helpful just to appreciate one's personality and develop loving kindness towards it. That's my personal response. And as for giving up work, that's a big life change. And you know, I think one of the core issues here, giving up work means reducing